Hey guys, the Avengers full trailer 2 just dropped, revealing a ton of new details and nuances. Now some are pretty obvious and others are open to speculation. So let's jump into it. Before we jump into the video, the March giveaway is this 24-inch theatrical scale Captain America shield. To enter is simple. 1. Like the video. 2. Subscribe and hit the bell notification. 3. Leave a comment below on what you think of the trailer. The Avengers trailer kicks off with a grayscale flashback to Phase 1's Iron Man movie, where it all began. Following the same color scheme of grayscale with red accents as the Super Bowl TV spot, following the dusted characters, except this time we have the original surviving Avengers narrate their journey, starting with Tony Stark. And he's no doubt talking to Pepper Potts from space to his helmet as previously seen in the first teaser. As he professes his love to Pepper, he also mentions,
I know I said no more surprises, but I was really hoping to pull off one last one.
Referencing that we last see them together in Infinity War when Tony had been speaking of dreams with Pepper of being pregnant, still trying to assuage her fears of him being Iron Man and the risks involved. However, Thanos showed up, being a terrible surprise for everyone involved.
No more surprises. We're gonna have a nice dinner tonight, show off this Harry Winstone, right? And we should have no more surprises, ever. I should promise you.
Yes.
I will.
The final surprise Tony is trying to pull off is to get home, as we see him in the Guardian's ship, the Benatar, with Nebula, who in the previous trailer was helping him no doubt repair the ship, and we get a confirm later in the trailer he and Nebula did indeed assemble with the rest of the Avengers in the hangar. It then cuts to Captain America, the first Avenger, where we see iconic shots of Steve still in grayscale with a really cool choice of accenting the American flag, symbolizing Captain America's struggle and ongoing fight for freedom. We then get an older Peggy Carter voiceover, which seems like she is speaking to Steve as per his visits to her before she passed away in The Winter Soldier. In her dialogue, she says,
The world has changed. None of us can go back. All we can do is our best. And sometimes the best that we can do is to start over.
The world has changed, which references the world post-snap. Then none of us can go back, which cuts to the chaos in New York after the snap, where you can imagine the pandemonium of traffic and boats, cars, everyone in disarray as half the inhabitants of the planet disappears. Notably, this comment mirrors Steve's own comment in the Super Bowl trailer about moving on.
Some people move on, but not us.
So these two lines are no doubt the seeds of the Endgame plot, where via the new quantum tech Tony gets from Scott, they will stay steadfast in undoing the destruction which Thanos wrought by going back in time and undoing the snap, as previously mentioned, possible by Janet Van Dyne as one of the secrets of the quantum realm.
And don't get sucked into a time vortex. We won't be able to save you.
We then see Hawkeye with his grown daughter, teaching her some pretty slick archery skills, no doubt also in a flashback. Peggy's voiceover then prophetically says, all we can do is our best. And sometimes the best that we can do is to start over. This is no doubt foreshadowing Hawkeye taking on the Ronan persona due to his family being dusted by the snap. We also get familiar shots of the now Ronan in Tokyo, greeted by Natasha Romanoff, sporting an umbrella and some tears. They have a hand-holding session, as being very close, it seems she's trying to comfort him of his loss. Then, in an incredibly tasteful throwback, it cuts to a glimpse of Peggy's funeral, again, grayscale with red accents of the flag, symbolizing Steve's loss, and not only mirroring the present, but also Steve has already given up Peggy and their last dance, which was in a flashback in Age of Ultron, and shown as his greatest fear, losing their happy life and being dragged into an eternal conflict, adding a poignant emotional gravity to what loss means to the Avengers individually.
You're alive. You came back.
Yeah, baby.
It's been so long. So long.
Well, I couldn't leave my best girl. Not when she owes me a dance.
We then see a direct cut to Asgard, back in grayscale as Thor Reminisces. I think his red cape accentuated is not only the most obvious color, I'd say capes represent protection and heroism, and it also is shown to be the same color as the flags that we just saw. And he has the dual pain of the loss of Asgard, and there's no one to comfort him in the fact that it was his direct fault for not going for the head that caused all of this pandemonium. Realizing he doesn't have Odin, his father, to comfort him for his blunder either. We then see the Avengers affected by that outcome as he says, "I saw all these people die." Interestingly, we hear Steve then say, "I keep telling people they should move on." Clearly going into damage control, probably thinking that it's what keeps people grounded and moving forward in such an emotional time. And it then cuts back to Steve and Natasha at Avengers HQ. Now notice Natasha's hair has the roots only licked with red, signifying a big time jump of probably at least a year. Steve then almost wryly remarks, "Some do, but not us."
Some do, but not us.
Showing the trademark sparking cap that still hasn't been fully extinguished. It then cuts to a very pensive looking Bruce Banner, who seems to be more of a realist and therefore probably doesn't know how to feel about this line of thinking after all they've lost. Bruce's whole MO that has kept him alive for all those years has been able to accept that he has to sacrifice anything at any given moment.
I'm always angry.
In the next scene, Scott Lang emerges and it looks like it's actually in his neighborhood. I think it's San Francisco, probably where he was last with the quantum tunnel van. No doubt disoriented to mysteriously clawing his way somehow out of the quantum realm to be met with the world in total disarray. The missing persons posters showing that it's probably not in fact widespread knowledge that a random mad titan snapped half the universe away, hence people still in hope they'll find these missing persons, plus God knows what happened to the people that did survive. I assume it would be a real shit show. We then get a shot of the Quinjet flying over Tokyo. I think this is Natasha collecting Ronan as we hear Natasha's voice saying, "Even if there's a small chance, we owe this to everyone not in the room to try." Which sounds like she was probably still talking to Steve or the other Avengers back at the HQ, but it no doubt would bolster her resolve a little bit to have actually found Ronan. As we see in the next scene, they once again comfort each other. However, in this scene, the ship isn't the Quinjet, but the Guardian's Benatar, so it's post Tony and Nebula getting back. The next scene is Ronan in a tunnel with the familiar red light we saw him bathed in the Super Bowl trailer, which has very ominous overtones. Though it's unsure what he's doing there or if it's related, he causes or is caught in an explosion and is hightailing it out of there as fast as he can. It looks like he might actually get hit by it. And then we also see a shot later in the trailer of him bow drawn in the same area, so obviously there is some danger. Next up is Rocket and War Machine in an undisclosed location. War Machine, aka Rhodey, in new armor that looks really lethal, and Rocket rocking the classic blue outfit from the comics. We then get a quick shot-by-shot of different surviving characters vocalizing their newfound resolve to not move on, but instead to find a way to undo the snap, saying, "Whatever it takes." The interesting shots here are Thor taking a moment to ponder with Stormbreaker in hand. I don't know if he's in the middle of the battle, but it doesn't seem like it because he just kind of stops and looks at the axe. Will all that power be enough for Thanos though a second time? Now Nebula has the most interesting shot. At first glance it looks like a fight on Titan against Thanos.
You should have killed me.
It would have been a waste of parts.
Where's Gamora?
However, it is a different color scheme and it may be on Earth with the debris or even a crashed ship. She lets out this cry of rage as she charges an opponent. Probably Thanos, again in a final confrontation, you would assume with how emotionally charged she is. Now, the shot of Steve buckling his shield shows that he's grimy and could correlate to the desperate fight we just saw Nebula in. They could have been on the ship together and it crashed, hence why he's so damn grubby, or he just ate dirt from fighting Thanos in a round 2, albeit with some aid this time in the form of his shield. But you can tell how high the stakes are with his face. He's definitely beyond the "I can do this all day" Steve Rogers, and more of a "this is everything I've got, everything is riding on this moment." We see Ant-Man in a very stereotypical Ant-Man situation. He's running over what appears to be a pencil and a headphone jack. It looks like something has exploded and he's in a building, probably with office supplies, and he's escaping. Now, whether it was the office building we previously saw him with Rhodey in the Super Bowl spot remains to be seen. The next shot is Tony back on the Benatar, and his final comment, "Whatever it takes," to Pepper, echoes the sentiment the rest of the Avengers had previously been musing throughout the trailer. Then we get a final shot of Steve, Nebula, Scott Lang, Clint, Rhodey, Natasha, and Tony in the hangar from the previous trailers, and it looks like everybody's assembled and is quantum suited up. Tony no doubt has upgraded the suits with the Avengers logos, but we also seen previously that they're shown to shrink with portable arc reactors on the Avengers' hand. It's a really cool thing that he's replicated his nanotech from his latest Mark 50 suit, though again, we haven't seen the Mark 85 yet. Although notably, no Bruce Banner in sight. He may be hidden or just out of frame as they don't want to give up how he's going to be hulked out in a quantum suit, though maybe again, he's still having problems at that time with the Hulk. We know from official concept art, he will Hulk out at some stage and be rocking the quantum suit. The final shot we see of Thor at the Avengers compound with Captain Marvel, he summons Stormbreaker very close to her head in a cheeky fashion, but she doesn't flinch, to which he says,
I like this one.
with the classic Thor smile. This is an amazing scene for two reasons. One, this is a throwback to Loki in Ragnarok as Thor tests his mettle when Loki's forced to reveal himself as a faux Odin. But now it looks like Thor's actually using this as an official Avengers test. So answer me this, if Loki didn't move, would he be an Avenger?
Side, brother.
All right, I yield.
Probably not. But secondly, the greatest comment I saw while watching this online was regarding Captain Marvel standing her ground, in which one savvy fan said, Captain Marvel did not move because she knows Thor doesn't go for the head.
I like this one.